welcome to the practice pad slash snare drum setup and introductory video. So this is for percussionists and beginning band or anybody getting going on a non-pitched percussion. So we start typically with a practice pad, or if you have a snare drum, sometimes you can put your pad on the snare drum, or if your parents don't mind it being really noisy, you can just play on the snare. It's a little bit quieter with the snare off. So first off, you want to make sure that your drum is set up at the right height. So you don't even need your sticks yet. The way I attached this practice pad was by loosening this guy right here to the point where it opens up, and then this kind of claw mechanism will open and close. But you want your practice pad to be secure in there. So I close it up all the way, spin it till it gets up there. Your practice pad probably looks a bit different, but you want to make sure that your pad is locked in there and it's not gonna, it doesn't just sit there. It actually is sturdy so that when you get hitting it, it's not shifting on you. And with anything having to do with these percussion stands, this is like a snare stand slash practice pad stand, you want to make things tight. So the wing nuts, whatever it is, you want to make them tight, but you don't want to over tighten them. If you over tighten them, they'll bend the metal and then they won't work as well down the road. So keep that in mind. You can adjust your height using usually a wing nut down here. You want this to be really sturdy with not too high. So if I had my legs up here, then I'm kind of balancing and this is going to be likely to fall. If you go all the way down, then it's not going to work. So you want to kind of find the middle ground, make sure it's wide. And again, tight but not too tight. Here you have a wing nut that you can use to shorten or raise your overall pad. Now the problem is, I'm about 6'4", so if I put my practice pad down here, I'm gonna have a hunchback in a couple years. So I have to set this one. I actually had to order a special one. That was the tallest one I could find. And I put it on the max setting, and it's still a little too low for me. But you want to shoot for somewhere around the belt, the belly button. I would prefer if mine was a little higher, but that's just me. Typically what happens is kids set it up too high, and then they get this business going, which you don't want to do, or they set it up too low, and so their arms are coming down doing this stuff. So you want to have it so that you can comfortably have your arms at about this angle. Okay, so that's your drum setup. For your music stand, which you absolutely want to have, typically you will set your stand up right in front of your drum. Demo that. Right in front of the drum, right between you and the conductor. So if you're viewing me as the conductor, my music's here and my drum's here. That way I have all three pieces of information that I need in one steady line. It's called building your nest. Now, what you don't want to do is put your music over here, put the director over here, put your drum here, and then you're doing this business in class, because that makes no sense. Make it easy for yourself, set yourself up for success. Now, for the purposes of these videos, I'm going to have my music off to the side slightly, just so that you don't have to stare at the back of my music stand the whole time. So that's music stand placement. Again, the height matters on your music stand. This is as high as it goes for me because it's some antique stand my mom bought me like 30 years ago. And that's music stand, that's pad. All right, let's go to grip. In your book, we use the Essential Elements book, book 1. There are two halves of your book. There's a keyboard side, which is going to be your pitched percussion, such as xylophone or bells. And then there is I believe they just call it percussion side or non-pitched percussion. Let's see what they just call it percussion book. So half of your book is percussion, half of your book is keyboard, which is pitched percussion. So the very beginning on page 2, in the top left, it says the basics, and in the very top left, it says matched grip. Matched grip is what we are going to use all the time. There are advantages and disadvantages to using traditional grip, which is the one where your drum's on the side and you hold your sticks all cool like in the movie Drumline, and you do this business. We're not going to do that. you can learn that from somebody else if you want, but we are going to use matched grip. And it's called matched grip because your sticks, both of your hands look the same. So there's a handy picture on page 2. If you want to make sure you have those images up, it kind of shows what your left hand should look, or what your hand should look like from your angle, looking down at them, and then when they're in playing position at a 90-degree angle. So first, take your sticks with thumbs up like this. Have about that much stick hanging out the bottom, which is, I don't know what, maybe 2 inches, inch and a half, something like that. Put your thumb on the stick like that, like you're giving thumbs up, and then you're going to very slowly bring your pointer finger up a little bit and your thumb down to match. So then your fingers are like that. So again, from the thumbs up, and then it kind of curves down to meet. And you want to make sure that your thumbs are flat against the stick, and that all 4 of your fingers come on the bottom of the stick. What you don't want to do is this stuff. You don't want to do this stuff. You don't want to, I see this a lot for some reason. So don't do that. And, hi Mrs. Arnold.
Hello.
I'm doing a video, but you're welcome to do whatever you want.
Okay.
So, if you have Vic Firth sticks, which are these guys, they're really good sticks, they have an American flag right where your thumbs should go when you have your final grip. They have an American flag, I'll show you. That is right where your thumb should go. And the type of sticks you get really matters. You want snare sticks. What you don't want to use is the mallets that come with your bell set. You don't want to use yarn, you don't want to use anything unless it looks like this. It is a snare stick. What you really want to avoid is the cheapy sticks, and your parents are going to hate me for this. The little Amazon brand sticks are essentially hollow. You might as well play with pencils. They will break, they will chip, they sound bad. I don't know how Amazon messed up drumsticks, but they did. They want to make them cheap. So don't just buy the cheapest stuff. You really do get what you pay for. I've had these for years, and they're going to continue to last me for years, simply because they're a good brand. They're a little more expensive, but they'll save you money in the long term. Last thing on the note of equipment, there are better pads out there, and there are really bad pads out there. I have a full 12-inch pad, so it's 12 inches in diameter. That gives me a playing surface that is very similar to a snare drum. It has a rubber pad. It's hard, I can't convey that to you over a video, but it has a rubber pad, so it has some rebound. There are these little 6-inch pads that usually come with bell sets, and they're awful. I know your parents don't want to spend more money, but they're awful. They sound like you're hitting a piece of wood. They don't have rebound. They don't play like a snare drum, because that's essentially what we're doing here. By playing on a practice pad, we are trying to simulate playing on a real snare drum without giving anybody a headache. And so I really urge you to get a practice pad that is good. Vic Firth has good ones. There's a brand called Vader. Those are really cheap on Amazon compared to all the other ones. You don't need some weird mesh thing. If you have an electronic drum set, 90% of the brands out there will have a material that is really similar to, it's like a gummy, rubbery, it has a little bit of give when you push it, but I think it's Remo that makes the really weird ones, but you're looking for a rubber substance is what you want. And if you look at the comments on Amazon, they will tell you if it's a practice pad that's worth getting. Also support your local music shop, hashtag Wally's. They don't have a hashtag, I'm sure. But anyway, so moving on, we have our grip. So on the American flags, thumbs are in. You have this support. When you go to the drum, you're going to be at 90 degrees. You're going to make a 90-degree angle like that, and you're going to hover 1 inch above the drum. Notice how my arms aren't up here, my arms aren't down here. I have a little bit of bend to my elbow. I have a relatively straight line from my elbow down to my hand. And a typical right-handed legato stroke is going to be just like that, up and down. Okay, if you want to do a legato stroke, I suppose there'd be some rebound. That's a left, that's a right, that's a left. And that is the setup for your stand. A little bit of talking about gear, a little bit of talking about holding your hands together, and now we're going to play through some of the books, or some of the book numbers. Hey, so I wanted to make this super quick interjection. I've been making a ton of videos today, and what I realized is I kept putting my hand here and leaning forward on the drum to make these videos. Never put anything on your drums. The only way you're gonna put anything on your drums, maybe, is rest your sticks there. Maybe. Usually you're gonna have a track table, or you're gonna be putting them away. You might rest them on your stand, but you don't wanna put stuff on your drum. A pad like this one may only be 30, 40 bucks, but a snare drum is gonna be closer to 200. If it's a really fancy one, it might be way more than that. The stands are expensive, and so when you apply weight to these by either leaning on them or putting stuff on them, you're gonna damage the drum over time. The oils in your fingers and on your hands, they will break down the drum heads. And I hate replacing drum heads, so if you're the reason I have to do it, I'm gonna be, I don't wanna say upset, but flustered might be a word. And also it just sets the precedent that, this isn't a musical instrument, this is just a thing. I'm just a drummer who hits stuff, right? This is a musical instrument. That's why no one other than percussion is allowed to play percussion. That's why we take care of our percussion instruments, because we want them to last a long time. We want to be seen as the same level of musicians that everyone else is considered, because the reality is you are a percussionist is just as much a musician as anybody else. I'm going off on my rants now, but take care of your equipment. So no leaning on the instrument, no putting stuff on the instrument other than snare sticks occasionally. That's all I got. Thank you.